This is lesson 48. We're talking about how to find the percent of a whole. Okay, and objective 1 is to find the percent of a whole. So, you've got your steps over here, and we're going to just follow those things, okay? So example 1 says 30% of the students ride the bus. If 210 do not ride the bus, how many students are there in all? Okay, so we're going to set up a ratio box of the two things we're comparing in the total. So we're comparing students that ride the bus to students that do not ride the bus. Okay, so we're going to have ride, we're going to have do not, and we're going to have total. Okay? Now, we need to set up a side for our percent numbers and our actual count. Okay, our percent numbers and our actual numbers. So, we know that 30% of the students ride the bus. So 30% ride the bus. Well, total for percent's always out of 100. Okay? So then we can also fill in, we know that if 30% ride the bus and 100% total, that 70% do not ride the bus. Okay? And our total, 100, should always be the 2% added together. So we got 30 plus 70 equals 100. We also know that in the actual numbers, 210 do not ride the bus. Okay? So 210 do not ride the bus. We want to know how many students are there in all. So we want to know this total right here. Okay, that's what we don't know. So we're going to use these bottom two to figure this out. So we don't need to worry about the number that ride the bus anymore. Okay, we're worried about the ones that don't ride the bus to help us figure out how many there are in all. So we're going to set up a proportion. Okay, so we did step 1. We set up the ratio box. Now we set up a proportion. So we're going to put this side, the percent side, 70 over 100, equals, we got 210 over our total. Okay, and this is our do not ride the bus over our total. Well, again, we could do cross products and solve, but we don't need to because I know that 70 times 3 gives me 210, so I need to take 100 times 3. And that gives me my t is equal to 100 times 3 is 300. So that means there are 300 students in all. Okay, and we got one more example, so let's go on to that. Okay, it says Shauna correctly answered 17 of the 20 questions on the game show. What percent of the questions did she answer correctly? So again, we need to figure out the two things we're comparing and the total. Well, I know the total questions is 20, okay? And I know she answered some correctly. Well, she answered some correctly. That also means she has to answer some incorrectly. So the two things I'm comparing are her questions she got correct and the ones she got incorrect. And then we'll have our total. Okay? And then we've got to have our percent side and our actual count side. And we'll use this to set up our ratio box. Okay, now things we know. We know that she correctly answered 17 questions. And that's 17 of the 20 questions. So that of the 20, that's the total questions. Well, 17 correct plus how many incorrect should give us our total. So we know there needs to be 3 incorrect. And then we know our total percent is always 100. And we want to know what percent did she answer correctly. So we're trying to figure out this percent right here, okay, that she answered correctly. So I don't need to use this incorrect portion, but I'm going to use the other parts to set up my proportion. So I'm going to have my correct percent over my total. So again, we don't know the percent correct. That's what we want to find out. That's always going to be over 100. Equals, and the number correct she got was 17 out of 20. Whoops, not 200, sorry, 20. Okay? Well, I know that to go from 20 to 100, I have to multiply by 5. So that means to go from 17 to my percent, I also have to multiply by 5. And 17 times 5, well, that's 85. So what percent did she answer correctly? She got 85%. And we should make sure that we say that that's what she got correct. Alright? And that's your video for the lesson, so good luck on your homework.